The Axis powers. The Axis powers were a group of countries that joined forces during World War II, including Germany, Italy, and Japan. These nations shared a common goal: to expand their territories and establish dominance over large parts of the world. Germany, led by Adolf, aimed to create a vast empire across Europe, believing in the superiority of the race. Italy, under Benito Mussolini, sought to rebuild the glory of the ancient Roman Empire by conquering lands around the Mediterranean. Meanwhile, Japan, driven by military leaders, wanted to control Asia and the Pacific, securing resources and power. The Axis powers united in their desire to overthrow the existing world order, challenging the Allies like the US, Britain, and the Soviet Union. Their aggressive expansion led to devastating conflicts and atrocities, ultimately sparking World War II and reshaping the world. The Allied powers. In World War I, the Allied powers consisted mainly of France, Britain, Russia, and later the United States. They united to combat the Central Powers, primarily Germany, Austria-Hungary, and the Ottoman Empire. The Allies aimed to stop German expansion and maintain balance in Europe. The war was brutal, with trench warfare and new technologies causing massive casualties. The Allies eventually won in 1918, leading to the Treaty of Versailles, which imposed harsh penalties on Germany. This victory, however, sowed the seeds for future conflicts, as the treaty left deep resentment in Germany. During World War II, the Allied powers included major nations like the United States, Britain, the Soviet Union, and China. These countries joined forces to stop the Axis powers, Germany, Italy, and Japan, from dominating the world. The Allies fought on multiple fronts, from the beaches of Normandy to the jungles of the Pacific. They aimed to defeat fascism and liberate occupied countries. The war ended in 1945 with the Axis powers' defeat, leading to the creation of the United Nations and a new world order focused on preventing future global conflicts. NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, was formed in the aftermath of World War II, at a time when tensions between Western democracies and the Soviet Union were escalating into what became known as the Cold War. The alliance was officially established on April 4, 1949, with the signing of the North Atlantic Treaty, also known as the Washington Treaty. This treaty was signed by 12 founding members: the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, France, Belgium, the Netherlands, Luxembourg, Italy, Portugal, Norway, Denmark, and Iceland. The primary motivation for forming NATO was to create a unified front against the growing threat of Soviet expansion in Europe. The Western nations feared that the Soviet Union would try to spread communism across the continent by force, and they wanted to ensure that they could defend themselves collectively if such an attack occurred. Article 5 of the treaty is a cornerstone of NATO, stating that an armed attack against one member is considered an attack against all members, requiring a collective response. NATO also sought to promote political stability and economic recovery in Europe, helping to rebuild nations devastated by the war. Over time, NATO expanded its membership and adapted to new global challenges, but its core mission of collective defense remains unchanged. European Union. The European Union was formed to bring peace, stability, and prosperity to Europe after the devastation of two world wars. It began in the 1950s with a group of 6 countries: France, Germany, Italy, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg, cooperating on coal and steel production, key industries for war. The idea was simple. By linking their economies, these countries could make war not only undesirable, but nearly impossible. Over time, this cooperation expanded into what we now know as the EU, which includes 27 member countries. The EU's main goals are to promote economic growth, ensure the free movement of people, goods, and services across borders, and maintain peace in Europe. It also aims to protect human rights, improve living standards, and tackle global challenges like climate change. By working together, EU countries strive to create a united and prosperous Europe where everyone benefits from closer ties. Remember to subscribe and continue watching to discover more about global alliances. United Nations. The United Nations was formed in 1945, right after the devastation of World War II, with one major goal in mind: to prevent another global conflict. The world had just witnessed the horrors of war, and there was a strong desire to create an organization that could promote peace and cooperation among nations. Initially, 51 countries came together to sign the UN Charter, committing to work together to maintain international peace and security. There are currently 193 UN member states. Each of the member states of the United Nations has one seat in the General Assembly, The UN's main goals are to promote peace, protect human rights, and improve the lives of people around the world. It serves as a platform where countries can discuss and resolve conflicts without resorting to violence. The UN also focuses on global issues like poverty, hunger, climate change, and health crises. Through its various agencies like UNICEF and the World Health Organization, the UN strives to create a better, more just world for everyone. BRICS. BRICS is a group of 5 major emerging economies: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Formed in the early 2000s, BRICS was created to give these fast-growing nations a stronger voice on the global stage, especially in areas like economics and development. These countries, with their large populations and rapidly expanding economies, wanted to work together to challenge the dominance of Western powers in global financial institutions like the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, IMF. The main goals of BRICS are to promote economic cooperation, support each other's development, and push for a more balanced global economy. They also focus on addressing common challenges like poverty, inequality, and sustainable development. By collaborating, BRICS countries aim to shape a more multipolar world where their interests are better represented. ASEAN. ASEAN, or the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, was formed in 1967 by 5 countries: Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand. These nations wanted to promote peace, stability, and cooperation in a region that was facing political tensions and the threat of communism during the Cold War. By coming together, they aim to foster economic growth and ensure regional security. Today, ASEAN has grown to 10 members and remains focused on its main goals: promoting economic integration, enhancing regional stability, and encouraging cultural exchange. The organization works to create a unified voice in global affairs, making it easier for Southeast Asia to navigate challenges like trade, environmental issues, and security threats. By strengthening ties between member countries, ASEAN helps ensure peace and prosperity for the entire region. Warsaw Pact. The Warsaw Pact was formed in 1955 as a military alliance between the Soviet Union and several Eastern European countries, including Poland, East Germany, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria, and Albania. It was created in response to the formation of NATO, the Western military alliance, as tensions between the East and West escalated during the Cold War. The main goal of the Warsaw Pact was to solidify Soviet control over its Eastern European allies and create a collective defense system against any potential threats from NATO countries. The pact ensured that these nations would support each other in case of an attack, but it also allowed the Soviet Union to maintain a tight grip on its satellite states. The Warsaw Pact symbolized the division of Europe into 2 opposing blocs until it dissolved in 1991, following the end of the Cold War. OIC, the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC, was formed in 1969 to unite Muslim-majority countries and promote Islamic solidarity. It was created after an arson attack on the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem, sparking a desire among Muslim nations to support each other and safeguard their shared interests. The OIC's main goals are to strengthen economic and political cooperation among its 57 member states, address issues affecting the Muslim world, and advocate for peace, justice, and development globally.